what I'd like to do next is introduce a good friend of ours, David Purdum with ESPN. He has been a great partner to work with while we've done events over the past few years, and always offers some just very insightful questions. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to David, who is going to introduce his guest. Thanks.
Good morning, everybody. Everybody awake? Sober? Yeah? All right, good. My name's David Purdum. Let's thank Ms. Sue for her introduction. Appreciate it. You guys do a great job. So I write about sports betting for ESPN, and there are some pretty good stories in sports betting, if you haven't noticed, some wild characters. And today I'm going to tell you about a story about how a furniture salesman from Houston, Texas, has emerged as one of the most fascinating and somewhat surprisingly polarizing figures in sports betting. This guy right here to my left, Jim Mattress Mack McIngvale. Jim, how are you today?
Good, David. Nice to be here.
Your Astros are rolling.
Yep, they're too hot for me.
Yeah, you got, last time I heard, $4 million on the Astros to win the World Series at odds around 10-1. You adding on to that, looking for more action?
$4 million to win $41 million. I've already used up that capacity, so if you want to take a big bet, I'm here today.
There you go. So we're going to get into
futures are a good bet for the bookmakers.
Yes, they are. Good hold percentage. We're going to talk a little bit more about the details, but I kind of wanted to look back on how this started a little bit. It was back in 2014, I believe. Two of your employees at the store were convinced that Peyton Manning and the Denver Broncos were going to beat the Seattle Seahawks. No chance Seattle had. And they convinced you, and you launched a promotion at your store. Hey, if you come in and buy $3,000 worth of furniture and the Seahawks for some reason win, I'm going to give you your money back. I think you were planning on doing about $2 to $3 million in sales on that. Tell me what happened there.
Yeah, so we had that promotion, and I sent those two guys to the Super Bowl. They were so convinced that Denver was going to roll in that game. So we had the promotion, and the Super Bowl being a 2-week process, we thought we'd sell $2 or $3 million. Well, it ended up the Saturday night at 6 o'clock before the Super Bowl, we sold every piece of furniture in the whole store. It never happened before. We sold all the inventory in the warehouse. We sold all the couches and recliners and bedroom sets at the store. Everything was empty, so I had to get on top of the desk. All these people were fighting to get in line and buy something. I said, no more, we're done. So we closed Saturday night because we had no inventory, and we started making the millions of deliveries. The deliveries had to be made before the game started. So if the wrong team won, that the customers wouldn't cancel. So we started making these thousands of deliveries, delivered all night Saturday night, all day Sunday. Sunday we were closed the first time ever. And so I was too nervous when the game started to watch the game. I had a treadmill in the warehouse in a gym we have. So I was on the treadmill for about 3 hours. And I knew when none of the guys were coming back and high-fiving me that I was in deep shit. And then my cell phone rang toward the end. It was my wife on the phone. I said, "Did we win?" She said, "You lost, dummy. You just lost $9 million, you son of a bitch." I said, "Well, I'll make it back."
What did you learn from that? I would think that, wow, there's interest in these kind of promotions being based on sports.
Yeah, I learned the interest was over the top. People love sports, and furniture buying, let's face it, is about as boring as you can get. As boring as going to the dentist. So when they come in and they get a rooting interest in a team, it doubles their interest and it makes us really relevant to the customers. We have a lot of competition now, not only from brick and mortar stores, but from Amazon and Wayfair and all these people. Unless we do something that's fun for the customers, we're going to go out of business. So one of the things I ask myself every day is, would the customers miss us if we were to go out of business tomorrow? And because of these sports promotions, I think they would miss us a lot.
So you lose $9 million. You don't want to lose $9 million. So you try to figure out a plan on how to mitigate your risk a little bit.
Yeah, I figured once it was going to be that big, I had to, bet it off with legal sports books. I never have bet offshore. So it started in 2017. I'm an Astros sponsor, and I talked to the general manager back then, and he gave us okay to say if the Astros win the World Series, you get your money back. And the Astros did very well in 2017, and that was when legal sports betting was opening in New Jersey and a couple other states. And I ended up I didn't do a futures bet then, but I ended up betting each series and betting individual games and flying all across the country and in these planes trying to make these bets. And Astros won in 2017. Customers got back about $17 million, and that really started me on the road towards saying, the more sports promotions I can do, the more I can get involved in the sports betting market, the more the customers like it, the more the customers buy furniture, and that's why we're there. It's two things: delight customers, sell furniture.
Indeed. So just to explain the basics of how this works, you offer a promotion that says, if you come into my store and you spend $3,000 on mattresses or furniture or whatever, and the Houston Astros win the World Series, you get your money back.
Right.
And to do that, you go to these sports books and place these giant wagers, right? And if the Astros win, you get paid from the sports books. You give that money to the customers.
To the customers, right.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about what it's like. I personally have not placed $1 million bet. I don't know if any of these people have. What did you have to do when you went to Las Vegas or you went to New Jersey in terms, did you bring cash? Tell us the process a little bit.
Well, starting off, I took cash, and that was a big risk carrying that kind of money. And then the guys at the sportsbook said just wire the money into us. And I had a hard time getting down big bets in Las Vegas in 2017. I flew out there Game 7 of the World Series to bet on the Astros, and a lot of the people wouldn't take $25,000. But I went all over town and I made a bunch of bets, ended up betting about $1 million that night before the game started. So I did that, and now I just wire the money and I talk to the particular book before and kind of get the better range, then I go out there and do it. And since sports betting is now legal in Louisiana, when I bet on the Kansas to win the Final Four, my wife and I drove to Louisiana and we bet at the Sonic. It was very exciting. We were in the Sonic getting a hamburger, and we bet whatever it was, $14 million on Kansas.
$14 million placed in the Sonic. I would say that's probably the largest wager ever placed at Sonic.
Yeah, it probably was.
So what can a sports book do to earn your business? I don't know what this says about your picks, but a lot of these guys want your business.
My picks are horrible. The only pick I made that was good recently was Kansas winning the Final Four, and the promotion was if a team from Texas, and we were counting on U of H, local, or Baylor, makes the Final Four, then if they win the NCAA tournament, you get the money back. And if a team from Texas doesn't make the Final Four, the team closest geographically to Houston is your team. Well, that team happened to be Kansas. So I won that bet. Before that, I had lost $17 million last year on the Astros when they lost to the Braves, right?
Right.
Then I lost $6.5 million when I had Alabama against Georgia. Then I lost about $12 million on the Super Bowl when I had Cincinnati, and then I won the Kansas bet. Now we're back in the Astros bet. What they can do to take my bets is take big action, and if you got a dream, take it. If you got a chance, take it. That's me. I have no fear. I have no fear of loss, and I'm going to gamble with both hands. I just need somebody to gamble with me, and you're going to get the best of it.
So who do you call? Do you could call? Do you have the numbers for all the top bookmakers? And you just
I
say,
called Dave Grohlman at Caesars. He takes more than anybody.
Okay.
And they took the bet $3 million on Astros to win 30, and the guys that win took $1 million to win 12. And I'm looking for more action on the Astros. The other thing the sports thing does for me as a retailer is totally changed the business. We're more relevant. We wear these Astros 2X shirts at work. People walk in and say, I want to get in the Astros promo, and they go buy, and they're pre-sold before they ever get there. It makes it better for retailing. And, to give you an example, because of the recession, because of the massive inflation, gasoline prices, the average furniture store in the country was down 50% in June. We were down 3%, and we're going to be up in July because of this promotion. So the promotion works. It sells furniture, and the business I'm giving to the books is good, clean business, and I'm almost always taking the underdog, so you got the best of it.
You're a customer service guy. How would you describe the customer service in the sports betting industry?
My definition of customer service, once again, what can you do for the customers other stores can't do, won't do, or unwilling to do? I was at the Pegasus horse race in Miami back in January. And so I told these guys I was going to bet big that night on the NFL playoffs game, which is the next day. So I flew to Louisiana, where it's legal to bet, and I had the money already wired. And I was going to bet $2 million on L.A. to win at, I think, 2.5 to 1. And I was going to bet $750,000 on San Francisco plus 4.5. And one of the two bookmakers wouldn't take the bet, so that killed the action, and I didn't do it, and that cost me $3.5 million. So the best thing they can do is tell me what the limits are, when they can take it, and not have to call the damn traders in the middle of the night.
You know, you bring me to the next question. I called you polarizing in the beginning, and that's surprising to me. But you are, and here's why I think you are. There is some resentment that you're able to get millions of dollars down, and some professional bettors or bettors that go on a winning streak and win, and they're betting $200 a game. Well, next time they log into their sports book, they're only allowed to bet $10. And then they see you out there betting millions of dollars, and it ticks them off a little bit. Do you think that sportsbooks should be able to limit people just specifically because they're winning?
I think winners are the best advertising in the world. As I was driving in last night, I saw a FanDuel billboard. It says, "Get ready for a wild celebration." In other words, you go to FanDuel, you're going to win. I think the best advertising sports books can have, rather than advertising, we're going to give you a $500 bonus if you sign up with us, and they sign up and they bet once and they quit, this is where we love winners. Winners make the business, and just figure out in your business model how to get enough margin where you can overcome some guy getting on a hot streak. Because by definition in the gambling business, you get a hot streak, a cold streak's coming. Nobody wins all the time.
That's right. That's right. Where do you think about Texas with sports betting? It's one of the big states that hasn't got it done. It's very political there. Do you think it's going to happen?
I used to think that Texas would never have sports wagering, but since I've been doing these wagers, the Houston Chronicle wrote an editorial about me. Different people have seen what fun sports betting is. They're seeing how much money's going out of state, and the Republican Party had their convention in Houston a couple weeks ago. They wanted me to come down and talk to all the legislatures about passing sports betting. They're probably the ones more blocking than anybody else. So I think within 5 years we'll have legalized sports betting in the great state of Texas, the most free enterprise state in the country, and we're looking forward to having legalized sports betting. That way I can continue to gamble with both hands every day.
Are people betting on sports in Texas right now, even though it's not legal?
People are betting on sports right now in Texas. They're betting in Costa Rica. They're betting offshore. They bet with bookmakers, and I think those days are gone, that we need to have legal bookmakers that are a part of the community, that supply jobs for Texans and for Americans. And so one of the big things for me is I want to bet onshore. I don't want to bet offshore. Open up those limits so I can bet onshore and bet a lot. And every time I bet, you can get as much publicity out of it as you want. And people talk about me. They live vicariously through my bets. When I went to Boston last year for the American League Championship Series, every kid in there under 30 years old knew me because of my gambling, because they'd seen me on Bleacher Report or Action Network or ESPN or wherever. So every kid in there knew me, and I'm encouraging these other people to gamble and making it more mainstream.
It's amazing the publicity that sports betting generates. Would you agree? How would you characterize, you just talked about how much you were on CNN. I mean, a furniture salesman from Houston, just because he makes a big bet. The fascination with sports betting. How would you characterize?
Yeah, my ad agency did a profile after the Super Bowl on how much free publicity I got paid advertisement, and it was about $20 million. So not only did I bet all that money and had a good time with the customers, even though we didn't win on that when LA won the game, we got $20 million in paid publicity, which helps us sell furniture a long time, helps me build my personal brand, and helps let people know that we are the fun furniture store. Buy your furniture there, and you might get your money back. Right now, if the Astros win, you get double your money back, and that's the best deal of all time.
Did you ever get national publicity before you started doing the big bets?
I got national publicity, when Hurricane Harvey hit, and we had 200 people sleep in the store for 3 nights. During the ice storm last year, same deal. So I've had lots of national publicity, but not as sustained as sports gambling.
Yeah, it's kind of escalated it. I wanted to ask you about, you have had a relationship with Chuck Norris.
Yeah.
Martial arts expert, actor, superstar from the 80s and 90s. You guys actually did a movie back in 1992. What did you learn from Chuck Norris, who's kind of a showman, and maybe probably helped you along the way?
My wife and I helped Chuck sponsor his program in the schools called Kick Drugs Out of America. Now it's called Kickstart, where he teaches these lower-income kids karate and self-discipline and self-respect, those type of things. Chuck's a great guy. So I always wanted to be in the movie business. My wife hated it because she's very conservative. I'm risk-averse. I like risk, so we spent $10 million and did this movie called Sidekicks, starring Chuck Norris. And we had a company who was going to distribute the film, but then Teenage Ninja Mutant Turtles came out, same genre movie, so they backed out. So my wife and Chuck and his wife and two other people went on a 30-city barnstorming tour of the United States, going from theater after theater, getting people to keep running the movie till Chuck got there for a whole month. They worked about 20 hours a day for 3 weeks, and we got the money back. Somebody asked me what I learned about the movie business. I learned I should stay in the damn furniture business.
So no more movies in your future?
No more movies in the future, but Chuck's a great guy, you know. He taught me a lot about building a brand. He taught me a lot about being loyal to people. He taught me a lot about a lot of things. I was reading this morning. It says, the dinosaurs looked at Chuck Norris the wrong way once. You know what happened to them?
The Chuck Norris thing. You talked awfully quick there. You're fast. You've got a lot more time. I want to ask you a little bit more about mitigating the risk and your target. You say you're risk averse, but it is kind of a gamble to try to guess how much furniture you're going to sell and how much you're going to bet. How do you go about that from the economic standpoint?
Well, what I've started doing more and more now is buying future bets because you get such bigger odds on those. I think I bought a future bet for $500,000 on Tennessee at 20-1 for the NCAA, and of course they didn't make the Final Four. That would have been a good promotion. So I buy a lot of future bets, and the Astros have been very hot, and we bought future bet on them. I bought a lot of future bet last year on New England and Tennessee. Those didn't turn out. So I'm buying more future bets now than betting right at the game and only getting plus 120 or plus 130.
Do you get other salesmen, car salesmen, or anybody else that's reached out to you and say, "Hey, I'm interested in trying to do some of these types of promotions"?
They ask me, but generally they don't have the balls to do them. You know, you got to be able to take that money and stick it out there, and you got to stay with it. You know, some promotions are really good, some promotions are flops, but if you keep doing it long enough, you'll find which ones are good. The best ones are the ones that have a 2-week run-up period, like Super Bowl, that sort of thing.
Excellent, excellent. Hey, let's open up to some questions here. I know Mac is looking for, 6-1 is what you're looking for?
I'm looking for 6-1 on the Houston Astros, up to $5 million.
Can we get an auction going here?
Yeah, that's it.
Hi, John Brennan, USBets.com. Mac, we met up the road a couple years ago at the Meadowlands Racetrack when you bet over $1 million on that one. Can you give me a sense of, I don't consider your original bet to be gambling in the sense that you were going to win either way. Either you won the money on the bet or the customers had to pay for the furniture after all. So do you feel like it's changed in the gambling since then? I mean, like I said, that one I think was a marketing play, really. Not a gamble. But now you're betting millions of dollars. So first of all, I take it from what you say you're a lousy gambler. Have you lost millions specifically, with the sports books? And has the marketing value that you talked about more than paid for itself then?
Yes, the sports books are millions of dollars ahead of me. But the marketing dollars are infinitesimally good. And even if the customers lose, they still had a good time. They still got to watch the game with their family. The Astros told me that my promotion almost doubled their viewership in Houston on television all during the season. They watch all during the season, not just at the end in the championship series. So even though I lose the promotion and lose a lot of money in the sports books, it's a great form of advertising. And that's basically what it is. It's advertising marketing to the nth degree.
One other thing I'm curious about is, like the furniture industry, is a little different in that people probably should buy a mattress every 10 years. I don't know. You would know better than me. But they tend not to because it's kind of expensive. They don't have a lot of disposable income. So they put it off and put it off and put it off. And with this promotion, it gives them the impetus to go forward on something they probably need and should do anyway. So is your industry more valuable for this kind of promotion than others would be because of that sort of reluctance to reinvest in a product they actually need?
I think whether it was a car or whatever, they would go for it, or a boat. They would get involved in it because they want to have fun and they want to do it. And they're going to buy a mattress now, or they're going to buy it 3 years from now. And this impetus, I might get double my money back or single my money back. Let's go get a shot, especially when it's a local team like the Astros, because the Astros are a unifying factor in the entire city of Houston.
This year's is double, right? If I buy $3,000 of furniture and the Astros win, I get my money back plus another $3,000.
Yeah, it's double. So one guy bought $80,000. He stands to get $160,000 back.
Do you have enough money on the Astros to cover that?
I do right now because I got $41 million, and
okay.
we're about used up that capacity. That's why I'm here. I'm looking for more capacity. It's 6-1, and I'll wire the money and be easy. And do you hear me, Mr. Grohlman?
Questions? Any more questions? We have any takers on his looking for his 6-1?
The other thing I wanted to say is I think somehow you got to figure out how to increase the capacity at these sports books, because as far as money goes, I'm number 50 million in this country as far as top money makers. But some of these guys probably could bet $10 or $15 million a game, especially on Super Bowl, World Series, or whatever. You got to give them a facility where they can do that and figure out how to do it, because these big gamblers want to gamble. And if all they can bet is $10,000, they may not be that interested, but let them bet $1 million or $2 million, and all of a sudden you got their attention. So I'm all for the little guys. I'm also all for the inflation has spiraled everything up, so why not let them bet more? My first big bet was when 2005, when Vince Young was playing L.A. and they're playing USC in the Rose Bowl, and I flew some salesmen out there. We stopped in Las Vegas, and it was called the Barbary Coast. Yep. Barbary Coast. I went in there. I bet $200,000 on Texas, and I think it was plus 250. And they took the bet. That was in 2005. They took the bet, went out there, they won. I stopped on the way back, got the money, came back home with it. Now that bet probably wouldn't be taken. So rather, the industry needs to go up as far as what you're going to take, not down.
Questions? How often do you just bet? No promotion attached to it. You just fly out to Vegas or drive across the border to Louisiana and place a bet? Not
very often. My wife says I have a gambling problem. I don't have a gambling problem. I have a promotion problem. So I just 90% of every bet I make is angling towards some promotion. Some of them don't pan out, like future bets on. I'm sure I'll do a lot of future bets this year on football team, and hopefully they make it to the deep in the playoffs, and I can do a promotion. So a lot of that, and I'm looking forward to World Cup. That should be a lot of action. We have a huge Hispanic population in Houston, and they're very interested in World Cup, so we're getting ready for that as well.
That's in November.
Yeah.
But you used to play poker a lot before you got into the business, correct?
I used to play poker a lot. You know, that's a good example. My wife went to the World Series of Poker because it's always been on her bucket list to play. 8,600 players at $10,000 apiece. Those people also bet on sports, and good for Caesars putting on that great event. And she lasted until the second day, and then she was bored to death. She's like me. She's a workhorse, not a show horse. She wanted to come home and come back to work, so she went all in the first hand, lost, came home.
All in on the first hand. What was poker like back in Texas back in the days? Where would you go play?
Oh, you'd play at houses and that sort of thing. You know, it was kind of a dicey situation, but we played poker a lot back then. And then all of a sudden, I moved to Houston in '81. I had to go to work, so hadn't played poker in 40 years.
What were the stakes back in the day?
Yeah, 20. You could probably win 5,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And that was a lot of money.
Yeah, it was a lot of money. Yeah. A lot of money.
Then when you had you were just starting your business, things were a little tough from my understanding. You were down to like your last $10,000.
Yeah.
and you decided, well, I'm going to use that $10,000 to fund a commercial, a TV commercial. And that commercial is going on, and they're filming it, and you don't like it.
I didn't like it, so I went out there and I said, let me do this last commercial. I did a little 25-second furniture pitch. I had the day's receipts in my back pocket. I pulled the money out. I said, "In Gallery Furniture will save you money." And the producer said, "That's enough. Let's go home." But I stuck with that ad, and it's run 10 million times in Houston since, and it's been very good for me. And that's what I do. I'm a huckster. I'm a promoter, and I will be a huckster and a promoter to the day I die, and I got no fear in me.
Do we have any more questions? Yes, sir.
Y'all be sure and look me up out there and tell me you're ready to gamble.
Mac, David Purdum, ESPN, thanks again for,
Hi, David.
for all you do. I think I speak for a lot of people in here who are happy when they open their betting app and they have 4 figures in it. We're happy. Can you walk us through what it's like, because none of us will ever experience it, to pull over to the side of the road in a Sonic and bet $14 million in an app, and to see those numbers sitting there, and walk us through how that money even gets there to begin with? Like, we're lucky if we can put 4 figures in an account, and you're betting $14 million.
Well, I wire it out of my bank to the sports book, and then one of the problems is most of those sports books their computers aren't set up to take that kind of money. So sometimes you have to do 500,000 20 times, and that gets to be a little tedious, but we got it done. And when I won that $14 million on whoever was Kansas, it took the sportsbook a while to wire the money back because they'd never wired that much money back. So what I'm saying is, like insurance companies, you got to increase the capacity and find a way to get more people gambling more, so you can take bigger bets, and everybody will win, because 10% of a million is more than 10% of 100.
Now that you're wiring the money, but you said originally you were taking cash.
Yeah.
How would you fly around with that much cash?
Big Astros duffel bag. That's why I still carry that Astros duffel bag, because I took $17 million out on one time in that, and a couple other duffel bags to bet, and I never got it back, but I still got the damn duffel bag.
Was it heavy?
Yeah, it was heavy.
It was heavy?
Yeah.
Awesome. Do you have any more questions? Yes, ma'am.
Hi, so I'm a fellow Texan, and I admire what you're doing to be this poster child of, betting Texan. So could you tell me a little bit more about how you're advancing the conversation in Texas to, continue to push forward the movement to legalization of sports wagering?
Yeah, I'm advancing the conversation by running thousands of ads, radio, TV, internet, on ESPN, or on the television, or on the radio, or on Action Sports Network, Yahoo, whatever, Google, that says Astros promotion 2X. Spend $3,000, Astros win, you get $6,000 back. And it's not gambling, because the customers can't lose anything, but it's a promotion, and people are realizing that gambling is not this seedy world of some backroom bookmaker or some tout giving this side to this phone caller and this side to the other phone caller, that it's a real legitimate business. And when they win, they're thrilled, and they tell all their friends, and the ones that won Astros 2017 are still talking about it. So it's the best marketing I could ever do, because it matters to the customers. At the end of the day, we're about one thing: customers, customers, customers. If we delight customers, we stay in business. We piss on customers, we're out of business. So we're going to keep doing what the customers want, and the customers want these type of promotions. And I think the customers want legalized gambling in Texas, and we're pushing the envelope to get it there quicker than later.
And you're over under on legalization in Texas is 5 years?
5 years.
Are you taking the over or the under?
I'm taking the under.
Under. Okay.
Under.
Okay. Any more questions? Awesome. We're going to give you guys a little bit of a time back and to enjoy this conference. We want to thank SBC and all the sponsors again. Thank you guys for coming.
Thank you, David. Thank you very much. I'm ready to gamble. Y'all come see me.